The Great Stupa at Sanchi remains one of the most recognizable structures in the Buddhist world, serving as a template for sacred architecture across Asia. Yet Bhagwan Buddha never visited this hill. His life was centered hundreds of miles to the north, and none of the traditional milestones of his journey occurred in this region. Even the emperor who commissioned it, Ashoka, didn't arrive here by choice. Early in his career, his father sent him away from the imperial capital at Pataliputra to serve as a provincial governor. This raises a question about why an emperor would invest so heavily in a location with no direct link to the Buddha's life, choosing this specific hill to establish a monument that would outlast his own empire. While traveling to take up his post in Ujjain, Ashoka stopped in Vidisha, a major trade hub near this hill. It was here that he met and married Devi, the daughter of a local merchant. Years later, after the violence of the Kalinga War led Ashoka to embrace Buddhism, he sought to distribute the Buddha's relics across his empire. He returned to the area where his family life began, commissioning Sanchi's first brick stupa. Records suggest that Devi herself stayed in Vidisha to directly oversee the construction. Sanchi became a point where imperial resources met a personal history. The site was born from a mix of Ashoka's private ties to the region and his public commitment to his new faith. The monument survived the fall of Ashoka's dynasty, but only just. When the Maurya Empire collapsed, the new ruler, Pushyamitra Shunga, reportedly targeted the site, causing significant damage to the original brickwork. However, in a shift of policy, the next Shunga king, Agnimitra, encased the original brick stupa in a massive stone shell, effectively doubling its size and creating the profile we see today. This layered construction turned the stupa into a physical record of India's shifting power dynamics, showing how successive rulers felt compelled to build upon rather than replace what came before. During the Satavahana period, these stone gateways, or toranas, were added. The carvings are incredibly precise because they were executed by Vidisha's ivory carvers, who treated the stone with the same delicacy as their usual medium. These gates are packed with hundreds of figures, from royal processions to wild animals. But if you look for the Buddha himself, you won't find him in human form anywhere in these scenes. This reflects the standard practice of the time, known as aniconism. Instead of a human figure, the Buddha was represented through symbols: his footprints, an empty throne, a dharma wheel, or the tree where he achieved enlightenment. These gateways capture a specific era of Buddhist faith, showing how the religion functioned for centuries before human statues became the primary focus of worship. As Buddhism declined in India after the 12th century, Sanchi was abandoned. For 600 years, the site was swallowed by jungle, disappearing from historical records. When it was rediscovered in 1818, it faced a new threat. Early explorers and colonial officials saw the stupas not as historical sites, but as potential vaults for treasure. In 1822, Captain Johnson dug a massive trench from the top of the Great Stupa to its base. He found no gold, but his reckless digging caused the western gate to collapse and left a scar in the dome that lasted for decades. Sanchi had endured centuries of dynastic turnover, only to be nearly dismantled by the hunt for non-existent treasure. The modern preservation of Sanchi began in 1919 under Sir John Marshall. He spent 7 years stabilizing the structures, repairing the gates, and establishing a museum to house the site's smaller artifacts. Marshall's work revealed the full extent of the complex. Beyond the Great Stupa, he uncovered Stupa 3, which contained the relics of Buddha's chief disciples, and the extensive stone foundations of Monastery 51, where hundreds of monks once lived. Today, Sanchi stands as a 1,400-year diary of Indian history, outlasting the empires that built and expanded it. From a personal marriage site to a global pilgrimage destination, these stones track the evolution of an entire faith. I'm curious, which part of Sanchi's survival story surprised you most? Let me know in the comments.